Hi, everybody. So earlier today, I was doing some yard work and I was listening to a content creator by the name of Millennial Stream. His story resonated with me because it's very similar to mine. This is someone who has given hope. He was a wage slave, or currently is still a wage slave, and he's a college graduate. And I'm assuming that he has some graduate education, but they tell you that going to college is going to be the path to success, but it's not necessarily true. And so there's a lot of forgotten people in America that people just, basically step over, look down upon, um, and they don't realize what someone's story is. So I'm going to go ahead and play his video, and I'm going to give commentary as we go through it. Sorry. Okay, here we go.
The anti-work Reddit, and I came across this post, and I haven't been back here regularly for a long time because I saw the pointlessness of anti-work. But as I saw this particular post, it reminded me a lot of my current job situation. I treat jobs like prison. I'm like, what are you in here for? Coworkers like mortgage and a family. You? Poor life choices. Now, I know.
Okay, I don't think that it's necessarily poor life choices. I mean, I think life is a poor choice. The imposition of life is a poor choice, but it's not something that we decided. That's something that our parents decided. And then you're basically just trying to navigate through life the best way you can. You don't necessarily make the best decisions because you don't have the information. You're young and you don't realize that the decisions that you make while you are young are going to affect you throughout your entire life. You don't know that the degree that you chose, this useless liberal arts degree, is going to end you. Um, it's going to cause you to end up working at Kroger at a gas station. But if your parents don't know any better or not telling you anything, what are you supposed to do? You're going off the information that you have. So the bad choice was the imposition of life.
Never imagined myself, as a college graduate, with multiple degrees and a lifetime of experience.
And I'm in the same boat. I have 4 degrees. Um, and I served in the military. I did everything right, and I still end up as a damn wage slave.
Working, that I'd be pushing shopping carts at my particular age.
My first job after law school was working at 7-Eleven making minimum wage, 7.25. That was my first job. I applied to so many jobs. I got some interviews, but then when they I don't even know why they even called me in because when they realized I had a law degree, they said I was overqualified. I was overqualified for those jobs, but for the legal jobs, I was underqualified because I wasn't licensed. So I was in a perpetual state of career purgatory. And then I had to eventually take my law degree off my job applications because nobody was going to hire me. So um, I think this is something that he should do as well.
But when I think about why I'm there, I have to ask myself, what did I do wrong? What did I do that was so horrendous with my life that I ended up making minimum wage in a parking lot outside of a grocery store? And if you were to ask me, it's like if a customer were to ask me this question, it's like, what are you in here for? What did you do so that you would end up at the bottom of society?
They think that you're just an underachiever. They think that you didn't do anything, you didn't work hard, you're there because of your own failure. They look down on you. I even worked at a high end retail. I mean, I can say, okay, I'll say it was Chanel. And they look down on me, and I'm like, I have way more education than you. Like, I'm not an underachiever. I ended up here because of circumstances which were beyond my control. You don't know my whole life story. You don't know anything about me. So when I see people, even if they're just taking out trash or they're working at 7-Eleven, I don't look down on people. Like, you're doing whatever you need to do to survive. Um, you do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself, as long as you don't ask me for money. Those are the only people who I have a problem with. Don't ask me for money, right? But if you're working, and you're doing the best you can, I don't. It's an honest day work. You're not. I actually look down more on people who are high earners, but they're exploiting people. I look down on lawyers who are charging people $500 an hour. A lot of people would not do that. I personally, it's not even just about being a lawyer. It's a lot of jobs that people could make, but you think, oh, this is not even work. I would never do this. Like, this is so exploitive. I mean, there's things that I could do, right? I have skills, but when I think about it, it's like, man, this is so exploitive. I can't do this. I actually have a conscience, but a lot of people don't have a conscience, and they make money doing absolutely nothing.
And I would tell them, I thought I did everything right. I worked through college. I always worked 40 hours a week. I had a student worker job that I did, and I took 6 classes for over 10 years at the university.
That's about how long I was in school. I was in school 4 years, undergrad. Well, actually five, because I was in the military, so I was going to school, night school. 3 years in law school, 2 years in my master's program, and then another year that I did in between, just getting certificates. So, um, yeah, and I have absolutely nothing to show for it except a whole bunch of student loan debt.
10 years at the university, folks. And here I am. Like, what are you in here for? I don't own a car. I don't have a penny in my savings account. There's nothing to eat in the fridge. I have nothing. What am I in prison for? Nothing.
I will say that last year I became a homeowner, and it has changed my perspective slightly because now I actually do own something. I did have a car. My car is paid off. Um, so I think owning a house did change my perspective slightly, but at the end of the day, um, I don't know. Y- I don't know. I don't want to go on a whole long tangent, but the I told you the city, their tree fell on my fence, and then they refused to take any responsibility for it, and they're protected with qualified immunity, so I can't really sue them. Um, so it's like you can damage my property, and I have no recourse. So I feel like it's not even mine. Like, the government can do whatever they want. Yeah, it's better than living in an apartment for sure, but yeah, it's just. I mean, what I do like about owning a house is the fact that I can garden, I can do things that I wouldn't be able to do in an apartment. Because that is something that I do that to distract me and take up my time. I was just gardening today, and hopefully I'm going to get everything the way it was last year. Um, so yeah, you have to have something to take up your time, and for me, it's gardening, and there's other things that I do, but it's just depressing. It's depressing. It's just the monotony of life, day in and day out, and people have no idea what you're going through.
I am in prison right now for labor. I am prison labor because that's the only way I could describe my situation. It's prison labor. I have nothing to show for it whatsoever. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have a family. I don't have any friends. I have nothing to do on my day off other than sit here and wait to go back to my prison labor job.
Well, I don't have. I mean, I have friends, but I don't necessarily need friends. It's not something that I desire to have. It's so draining, and the upside of it is just not worth it. The cost benefit, that when you think about what you're putting into it, and I don't know, I don't need to go down that, but for a lot of people, most people are social. They need to have friends. I'm a schizoid, so I enjoy being alone. I like, my friends are basically the stray cats, and that's fine with me. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's one thing that is a benefit to being schizoid, is that I don't get lonely. I like being alone. I actually feel lonely when I'm around people because I don't necessarily fit in with other people.
On Monday morning, I mean, you think about most people living like this. What do the pros do for entertainment? They sit at home and they watch Netflix or they watch TV. They don't do.
Well, in my spare time, I'm gardening. I'm doing YouTube content. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of free time, but I do what I do. I wish I could had more free time, but I don't. And there's other things that I do that I can't really talk about. But yeah, I could have easily gone on the path of doing drugs and doing all kind of stuff just because I was in a deep state of depression for a long period of time. And I'm not sure that I'm even. I would say that I'm depressed still. I just don't think about it. I try to block things out so I cope with it better than I did before. Before I just took it all in and thought about how miserable my life was. Now I try to block it out. When people ask me questions, how are you doing? I don't want to think about that. It's depressing as fuck. I try to block it out. Um, People don't understand, why do you have a chip on your shoulder? It's because I'm fucking miserable. A lot of people are fucking miserable, and people have no idea what we're going through.
Do anything. You know why? Because doing things costs money. Entertainment costs money. Driving to places costs money. Going out to buy clothes costs money. All of life's situations.
But they judge you based on these superficial things. What kind of car you have, what kind of clothes you wear. Um, and that's something that you see on the outside. That's the first thing you see, right? But there are people on my block right now who may have nicer clothes than I have, but they don't own a house. I own a car and I own a house. I don't have car payments. I don't live in an apartment. To me, that is more important. But I mean, if you didn't see me, I know how to dress. I just don't do it all the time because I don't want to waste money. Um, but yeah, society puts these expectations on you. You're supposed to do certain things, and if you don't fit into their standard, then it's like I don't really care. I mean, I'm not a straight male, so I don't have to impress people. Like, I have easy access if I wanted to get laid. It's not, I mean, I don't have these same problems. I'm not an incel. I don't think that incels really exist in the gay community. Like, you can get laid. So um that is that is an upside. I don't know how I would exist as a straight male. Um that you're expected to have money. You're expected to pay for everything. You're expected to um be the provider for a woman and a child potentially. So yeah, I'm good. I don't have to worry about those things.
Cost money that poor people don't have. So if you stop and think about what the life of an ordinary poor person looks like, it's very much so a prison labor situation. There's no, I don't get to get out of this prison labor just because I don't like it. I was thinking all day today, well, what if I transfer to a warehouse? Wouldn't working in a warehouse be better than pushing shopping carts? No. It's just a different kind of exploitation. When you have nothing to live for, nothing to look forward to, because the last 2 weekends, I get to the weekend, and all week, as a poor person working, you look forward to the weekend. And then you get here and it's Saturday, and you're like, well, what am I supposed to be doing? I worked so hard all week.
And then the weekend comes and you pretty much just lay around sleeping, watching TV or whatever. And then, the weekend is gone so quickly. And now you're back into this hellscape. So it's just so fucked up the way life is. This is our existence. I don't think that his parents realized what they were imposing on him when they decided they were going to create a cute little baby. Like, no, you're going to spend most of your life as an adult, as a fucking wage slave, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they say it's about choices. And even he said it. He's putting the onus on himself. I don't see it that way. He didn't choose life. He didn't impose life on himself. And so you're born into this capitalistic system where you have to work in order to survive. There are things that he could probably do, but if you are depressed, you can't really see your way out of it. I was depressed for a long time, and I made some decisions to get out of the situation that I was in. but my situation still isn't ideal. There are things that I can't do. They're out of my control because the government won't allow me to work in my given trade without a damn license. So I don't have, there is no free market for legal services. I can't be an attorney without a fucking license.
I busted my ass all week long. And now it's the weekend, but I don't have a thin cent or anything to do. I can't afford anything. And at least if I was doing this for my family, I could justify sacrificing my life for my family.
But that is a trap too, because a lot of people, they do feel empty and then they try to create a family in order to give their life meaning. But it's like that's a trap in and of itself because your family is dependent on you and you're not going to be able to come through. And then when you let your family down, you're gonna feel even worse. And on top of it, it's not your child's responsibility to help you to self-actualize. You should be fulfilled. You should be a complete human being before you have children. It's not your child's responsibility. So I hope this person, I mean, I did tag him. I hope he's listening to this and that he does not procreate because all you're going to do is create another wage slave, and that child is going to be in the same situation, even worse, because of overpopulation, because of the way this economy is going. Your child may not even be able to get a job at Kroger because a lot of those jobs are being replaced by people who aren't even American. These low skill jobs, we don't even have that to fall back on. So please do not have children.
But right now, I'm sacrificing my life so that someone else can be rich. That's the problem with our society is that we workers at the bottom are sacrificing everything we have. Think about the most valuable thing you have as a poor person. It's your life. But when your life isn't worth living, why live to enrich other people? I am never going to get this sentence, this prison sentence that's been put on my forehead since the moment I was born.
Um, and I don't know if he's listening or if he'll listen to the live stream later, but look up anti-natalism and get yourself sterilized if possible. If not, then at least use protection. Don't have children. Um, no, I mean you can spare someone else of experiencing a similar fate. A lot of people have no idea what you're going through. They don't care. They're not going to do anything to help you. They have all these expectations of how you're supposed to behave in spite of your circumstances. You're still supposed to be happy, put on a fake smile, and they just want to take from you.
Into the proletariat. This was my destiny to always be poor. I've always been poor. And that puts you in a.
It's not as if money is going to fix all your problems, by the way. It's the imposition of life. I do think that being poor makes it worse, but yeah, I've been on both sides. It's not a prophylactic. Like you're still going to have a whole lot of problems, and I just think life has no meaning, even if you have money. Like I did a whole a video about that, about how money chasing is not an end unto itself. Like you have to have meaning outside of that. Some type, I mean, self actualization. You have to have a vocation or some type of activity that gives your life meaning. It could be. It doesn't necessarily have to be your job, but you have to have some type of activism, some type of identity. I am an anti-natalist. I'm an anarchist. I mean, some of these things I can't really control. I'm black, but that's nothing. I didn't choose that. I'm gay. I have been a gay rights activist. What else? I don't know. I mean, these things define who you are. Some people are vegan. Some people are. Um, I don't know. I mean, but if you're just living a shallow existence and you're just shopping, that eventually that gets old, right? Because all those people seem like they're living it up because they have money. My ex mom included, right? Eventually she gets older. Eventually her looks are going to fade, and all that shallow bullshit that used to give her life fulfillment, it comes to a screeching halt, and then you try to put that on your children. Oh, my own son didn't wish me happy birthday. Well, I don't celebrate birthdays. You're waiting for validation from me because you chose to live a shallow existence, money chasing and shopping and all that bullshit. So it's not just about money. I mean, I would like to have money because it would give me an opportunity to pursue the things that I think are important, like activism, fighting the system. And I think you do need money. Like it's not just about having an idea and getting people to buy into it. No, you need to have money so that you can bankroll your own um I don't know, ideas. You don't have to rely on other people to fund you. It's important. A lot of people tell you that money isn't important. Even if you are altruistic, you still need money to be altruistic.
A situation where I open the front door of my cage every day. I go out for the worker release program, and at night I come back into the cage. On the weekends, I sit in the cage. Even prisoners get 3 meals a day and free health care. I don't get that. I just work, and you work, and you work for nothing. No benefits, no time off, no paid holidays, no nothing. So when you ask, what are you in here for? What are you in life for? Is it truly just to enrich people that already have too much money?
Well, you skipped a step. I mean, yeah, you are a wage slave, but before that, you were a slave to your parents. They imposed life on you because they needed validation. So I would not bypass that layer to it. But your parents are the ones who did this to you.
And then you wonder, then you look at society and it's like, well, why doesn't anyone want to work? Why do we live in a society where a common phrase right now is no one wants to work? Well, think about what they have to live for. $300 a week. And then you look at the cost of life, inflation, the fact that there are no pay raises there. The minimum wage is across the board a scourge in our.
Here's the thing. I mean, I did minimum wage, but that was a temporary thing until I got on my feet. Like, you don't have to work minimum wage. And I don't know where you live. I don't know your situation, but I guarantee that I'm in a worse situation than you because on top of having all this education that I can't put on my job applications, I also have a lot of litigation. Um, when you Google my name, there's a whole bunch of shit all over the internet that's going to prevent me from getting a job. You probably have a clean slate. I'm assuming you don't have a criminal history. Even if there are not a lot of jobs where you live, you can relocate and go someplace else. You don't, it's not a dead end. I'm not saying that life is going to be perfect. Life is hell no matter where you go, but you don't necessarily have to work a minimum wage job. Even if it's a low skilled job, you can get a higher paying, low skilled job. You don't have to work at Kroger. You don't have to work at a gas station. There are other things you can do.
Society that we can't free ourselves from. And then you stop and you think, it's like, well, what's the point of being alive if I have nothing? No friends, nowhere to go.
No, he doesn't have a good job. According to him, he was working at Kroger, or I think he still works at Kroger, making minimum wage. His annual income is only $13,000 a year, which which is ridiculous. Because when I was working at 7-Eleven, fresh out of law school, that was depressing as hell. But I still made it, and that was back. That was before this inflation bullshit. And I decided to go back to school to get a master's degree because, yeah, it was a dead end, and I basically just lived off of student loans, and it just compounded my student loan debt. But what was I supposed to do? There was no way I was going to work at 7-Eleven forever. My car broke down, and this guy, I don't know about this story is not completely related, but this old man was giving me a ride to work, and then he wanted to have sex with me, and I was like, what the fuck? You're straight, you're married, like what the hell? No, I'm not having sex. Are you out of your fucking mind? So this is the shit that you have to deal with when you're fucking poor.
Nothing to eat. All you do is work. And you're like, well, why why is it so unnatural? Why is society look down upon people who don't want this? I don't want to be alive any more than one day at a time like this. Who would want to be alive?
And that's how I look at it, right? In order to not be depressed, I take it one day at a time. If I look at life in its totality, if I think about it in the long term, it's extremely depressing. People are always, what are you going to do 20 years? I don't fucking know. This isn't my fucking fault. I didn't choose to be here. So don't ask me that fucking question. Go ask my fucking parents what I'm going to be doing 20 years down. Maybe they have a better answer than I have because they're the ones who imposed life on me without a fucking plan.
When poor life choices ended you up in this system where you're just being exploited day in and day out, and your wages don't amount to a person that will be able to retire from this system. Most proles right now will have to work until the very last moment of their.
And when I talk about, I don't even know if I should say the word, I see that coming, right? That's the part that I'm dreading, that I'm going to become old and then I'm going to have to continue work. That's why I don't want to have a long life. I see this shit. I I mean, I can't say it because of the censorship. And the last time I talked about that, they sent me this stupid email talking about I was going to harm. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not. Gosh, they take this shit so out of context, and they think that if you say certain things, that if you just get help, if you just go talk to someone, that's no. Are you going to give me a fucking job? Are you going to help me to fight this oppressive government? No, you're not going to do shit. So keep your raggedy ass email. You can't do shit to fucking help me.
Their life. Because even if they get to the end, we make so little money that we're not putting anything into Social Security. You know what Social Security thinks people are making right now? $55,000 a year is what Social Security thinks that you're supposed to be making and putting money into Social Security. But when you're making $13,000 a year, like what I'm going to make this year, you just have to shake your head. It's like, is that all my entire life is worth? Every one of my adult years for my entire life has been around $13,000 a year.
You don't have to make 13,000 a year. I promise you. And I guarantee. And I'm saying I'm not just someone who's just talking out of my ass. I'm saying this as someone who was in a similar situation. That does not have to be permanent. There are other things you can do. Um, it's your mindset. It's because you're depressed and because you're just um you can't see a light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know how to tell. I mean, if you're depressed, there's nothing that anybody can do to help you. Um, and it's not just about applying for jobs. Okay, there are jobs that are probably out there that you probably wouldn't consider, right? You think, oh, I would never do that. Try it. Those even the jobs that you think that wouldn't be right. I would say try it. If it's a higher paying job, don't keep an open mind. Don't just think, okay, I know because you're thinking I have these degrees, I need to work in this field. That's not the way you should look at it. Look at what's going to pay the most money.
I mean, you stop and you look at that and you're like, what is the point of this? There's no point. That's why so many people have given up. Remember, 1 in 3 working age men opted out of working. There is no way that the unemployment rate in America is less than 5% when 1 in 3 men are not working right now. The jobs that are out there, that are sitting out there, these numerous job fairs that are out there trying to attract people to work in concession stands, in some sort of customer service job, in a warehouse or in a call center. How are you supposed to get workers when you're luring them in to a life that has no meaning? And that's pretty much what I've tried to put in the back of my head as I go to work every day. I have no meaning. This work is not meaningful. This work is not work. It is a prison. It is a 100% prison. There's
It is a prison, and they expect you to be happy about it. They expect you to come to work with a smile, talk to everybody, and I mean, that's the worst part. That's the worst aspect of it is the fact that you're supposed to be happy. Yeah, I can do the work, but no, I'm not going to be happy about it. Of course, I'm not happy. Um, I want time off so that I can do the things that I think are important. But it's so screwed up. There is. I mean, what are you supposed to do though? But I mean, so many people think that there are things that are so more important, like whatever bullshit. And I don't want to attack the vegans, but can you imagine a vegan going to a person like this who's so miserable and depressed, who can really get out of bed, but they have to work and oh, go vegan? That is so callous. I mean, come on. They're not even in reality. They don't even understand what other people are going through.
no way that somewhere, you do enough time at the minimum wage where someone says, you know what? It's time to move up. That has never happened in my entire life. The minimum wage has been with me since I entered the workforce, and my pay has never, ever increased. In fact, for every pay raise that I've gotten, it's slight. You're talking about 10 cents, it always goes back down. The next time you start somewhere else, you put in a few years at Taco Bell, and then you get fired. Every one of these jobs is going to fire you eventually. Because if there's one thing we know about crap jobs is that people don't like them. People don't like going to their crappy jobs. And eventually they get to the point where your employer just looks at you like, you know what, I don't need you around here. I was told that the last time I worked at Kroger's by several managers. We don't want you around here because we don't want the customers looking at you and you looking poor, depressed and sad all the time. You come into work and you're dirty.
But that's how people look at it. They just want to shoo you away so they don't have to look at you. They don't want to deal with the problem. Um, this is so bad. And I mean, the problem is that his story isn't unique. There are people who go around with bad hygiene or whatever, and everyone just kind of looks down on them. They don't realize this person has already given up on life. They don't even want to be here. My niece um was having some hygiene problems, and I told my brother, I said, she's probably depressed. He's like, oh no, ain't nothing wrong with her. And he took her to a psychologist, and sure enough, she was depressed. Come on, I already read this. I read the studies on this. That is a clear sign of depression. People have bad hygiene because they have already given up.
And disgusting because you stop caring about your personal hygiene. I always wondered, what it really took to just give up on yourself, to come into work dirty and to come into work smelly, to come into work like you just don't care about life. Like I used to see these people, and this is back when I still had hope. When I worked at Walmart and I saw my coworkers coming into work dirty, disheveled, with an I don't care attitude, I always wondered, it's like, you know what? I always thought it was just going to be a phase. That got out of college, my first job was Walmart, and I looked at those people and I was grossed out by them because they did smell. Their shoes were torn up, their shirts were full of stains, and yet they came to work and they just didn't think about it. They just put the job in the back of their head, and they just kept coming back to work looking disgraceful in my.
Right, you put the job at the back of your head because you're so focused on how miserable you are, and you're not even focused on your job at all. You just want to do your job, go home, and they want you to be attentive. They want you to actually focus on this shitty ass job, and they're trying to get your attention. They want you to be present, and you're just trying to block the shit out. Like, I mean, some of these people. Okay, I'm not even going to speak for other people. I'm just going to say for myself, it would be better if I just didn't exist. Um, I mean, I say it, I verbalize it just because I know there are other people who are thinking that, but then all they want to do is tell you to go talk to some damn hotline. What is that going to do? Fix your damn situation? You're still going to have to go back to your shitty job and live your miserable, shitty existence. That doesn't do shit. What is the hotline going to do to help him?
My opinion. And now I'm that person. Now I'm the person that stopped caring, stopped showering every day, stopped combing my hair. I just stopped caring at some point.
Yeah, I never got to that point. Like for me, hygiene is important. I don't know. I don't care how depressed I am. I'm still going to take a shower.
And it was quick, dude. It didn't take long. As soon as I felt, the pointlessness of my life, I stopped caring. Because no one cares about you. Why do you care about yourself? And if you know that the job that you're in is never going to get any better, the prospects, I mean, when you look for work for 2 years and put in thousands of job applications and you don't get a single job, is it really just you? Do you really suck? Because
Well, they think that you just don't have any ambition. You're just lazy, right? I know I was putting in a whole bunch of job applications, but I didn't realize that the reason they weren't calling me back was because of my damn education, right? And I had to take it off. So once I took my education off, I got more callbacks. The only education I put on there is my bachelor's degree, but the master's degree, the law degree, no, I don't put that on.
believe me, there are people who can't even get a job at Kroger's. I've seen them deny employment to people just because they didn't fit what they were looking for, and what they were looking for was desperation. If you walk into a minimum wage job and you're not desperate, they don't want you there, because desperation keeps people coming back to jobs like this for years at a time. Year after year after year, you see these people get old in the job. Some of the people that work in other departments at the Kroger's have been there for 10, 20 years doing the same job. And guess how much more money they make than I do? I think one of the people that works in the meat department makes $5 more than I do an hour after being there for half their life. And you're like, oh God, I hope that's not me. I hope that a car runs me over in the parking lot before I ever become that person.
And when I had my car accident, I was so upset because I did not I thought I was going to transition, right? And then I walked away with just a few scratches. I was pissed. And then here come these fucking road pirates coming up to me trying to tell me how lucky I am. I don't feel fucking lucky. I still have to deal with this bullshit. And I was pissed and I got annoyed. And because I wasn't cooperative with them and they didn't like my attitude, they decided to give me a fucking ticket, even though I did absolutely nothing wrong. And they don't even know what happened because they wasn't there. But this is a retaliation for the fact that they didn't like my attitude. I'm supposed to be happy that I survived so I can continue life as a fucking wage slave.
Because it truly sucks. And I saw this at the call center, is that all of the young people would come in and they would come in and out. But the old people, man, there were people there over 40, 50, even older than that just stayed. I knew what they made because my boss made almost the same amount that I made. Just a couple bucks. I think it was like $14, and the minimum wage is like $12.15 or $12.85, set to go up to $12.85, I think, at the end of this year. But they didn't make anything, but they stayed because it was a regular paycheck. And that's really how you get people to stay. You offer them a little bit of money and it's regular, and they can't leave, because where are you supposed to go? I stayed out of the job market for as long as I humanly could. I knew that coming back into it was going to cause me a lot of mental health issues, especially when I saw the situation that I was in, where it was hopeless, depressing, sad. You had people who look at you with disgust. People look at you with disgust. That's the hardest part of this job, is that people just look at you and you're like, and now that you give up on your personal hygiene, people look at you and it's like you're dirty, you're sweaty, you smell. People just look at you like, look at that person.
I mean, you don't have to smell though, even if you are home. There are people who are homeless, but they still have good hygiene. Like I don't. I mean, that's okay. Part of that is about having self-esteem because I don't shower for other people. It's not about other people. Like for me, I want to be clean. I don't want to smell. I don't want to smell my own funk. So yeah, it's not about I don't care about myself. So I that's the whole thing, right? Because there's this whole narrative that you're not loved. So that's what they focus on when they try to give you help or counseling, that you are valued and all. It's like, no, my I mean, my perspective is different. I don't hate myself. I don't have low self-esteem. My problem is external. Like I don't want to deal with other people. I don't have any problem with myself. I don't hate myself. I don't have low self-esteem. I mean, even if I get depressed, it's not because I hate myself. It's because I don't want to deal with other people. So because of that, I'm not going to punish myself by not showering. I mean, I do understand, people. Yeah, but I guess because I'm schizo, so I just don't care what other people think. But if I didn't shower, I also wouldn't care about that. I wouldn't care that people thought I was dirty. I would only care because I think that I'm dirty.
That person really just did give up on life. Now that person probably sleeps at the bus stop once he's done because obviously he's not showering. Look at him. He's disgusting. And that's the way we look at all of these people that work in customer service. We're disgusted by them. And it's not something that we can change. It's a societal thing. When you pay people nothing, you can treat them like nothing. And that's where we're at right now in this world we currently live in. And without major changes that take place by people getting into the street and getting angry, nothing will change. You're
They're not going to get angry. First of all, the people who are in the same position as you, they're too depressed to do anything about it. And the ones who are in a better position to do anything about it, they're not going to do anything about it because it's not affecting them. So, I mean, I hate to say it. I know this sounds very cliche, but you have to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. That's only if you want to live. If you want to continue, you want to live to an old age, the only person that can save you is yourself. And that's something that I had to realize. I talked to a psychic last year, and I don't know if I necessarily believe in psychics, but she told me that. She said, nobody is going to save you. You're going to have to save yourself. And I had to have a dose of reality that this is what it is. I thought that maybe one of my friends from law school or somebody was going to reach out to me and see how I was doing. And no, that's not going to happen. It's on me.
still going to have people like me who come to work, disgusting, make disgusting money, behave in a way in which you just start looking at them like you look at that poor piece of crap out in the sun all day long, burning in the heat, cold in the morning. It doesn't matter. You just look at those people. It's like we don't stop and think about how hard the person that put the salad, on our dinner table. We don't think about those people. The same way you don't think about people pushing carts. They don't matter. And when you look at your paycheck, you realize you don't matter. You don't matter in any conceivable way. You never mattered. And now you have to wonder, it's like, do I really want to keep going like this?
So, I mean, I know everybody's not in the same situation, but my thing is I'm going to probably try to start a business so I can work for myself. I don't I'm not going to be working for some corporation for the rest of my life. Guys, guys, why is this thing still playing? Okay. Yeah, I'm going to be starting a business because I can't do this forever. And even if I do have to be a wage slave, I'm going to be a wage slave from home. I'm not going to be clocking in and having to deal with people for the rest of my life. This is bullshit. Um, I mean, the easier solution would be for me to not be here in the first place. But that's not an option really because I don't want to have to do it the hard way. But yeah, this is so screwed up. So I'm going to be doing another live stream hopefully tomorrow. Yeah, for those of you who are listening from the Stop the Vegan Mafia channel, the only reason I haven't deleted it yet is because I need to download all of my content. But as soon as I'm done with that, that channel is not going to be up much longer. So y'all can follow me on my other channel, the Black Anarchist. Um, yeah, thank you for your support, but I'm not going to be doing any content specific to that channel. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to be doing one live stream about veganism because I found this article that I want to review. But other than that, I'm pretty much done with that channel. It's not growing. It's not going anywhere. So thank you for your support. But yeah, it's a wrap. So y'all have a good night.